The entire university hall was silent. Hundreds of students sat in their seats while 3 administrators stood on the stage. In the middle of the room stood a thin, quiet student named Daniel. The dean looked down at a printed report and spoke firmly, "Daniel Ogatha, you have been identified as the person who hacked the university examination system." A wave of whispers spread through the hall. Some students gasped, others laughed quietly. Daniel didn't move, he simply looked confused. "I didn't hack anything," he said quietly. But the dean had already made up his mind. "We have digital evidence." The security team stepped forward. And that was the moment Daniel realized something terrible was happening. Part 1. The quiet student. Daniel had never been a popular student. He was the kind of person most people never noticed. He always sat in the last row of the lecture hall. He never joined arguments. He rarely spoke unless a teacher asked him a question. But there was something people didn't know. Daniel was one of the most brilliant computer science students in the entire university, not because he showed off, but because he spent most nights in the campus library learning things far beyond the classroom lessons. While others were partying or scrolling through their phones, Daniel was studying network security, system architecture, and programming. The library staff knew him very well. Sometimes he stayed until the lights were about to be turned off. Yet despite his intelligence, he lived a simple life. His mother sold vegetables in a small roadside market. His father had passed away years earlier. Daniel's scholarship was the only reason he could attend the university. If he lost it, his education would end immediately. But that was exactly what was about to happen. Part 2. The accusation. 2 days earlier, something strange had happened on campus. The university exam database had been accessed illegally. Someone had changed several students' exam scores. High grades suddenly appeared where failing marks had been recorded. It was a serious crime. The university administration panicked. They called in the IT security team. After several hours of investigation, the system logs showed something shocking. The access had come from a student network account, and that account belonged to Daniel. The administrators were furious. To them, the case seemed obvious. "Smart students are often the ones who do this," one administrator said. "He probably wanted to manipulate the system. They didn't ask Daniel many questions. They simply suspended him and began preparing his expulsion." But the story quickly spread across campus. Students began talking. "Did you hear? The quiet guy hacked the system. I knew something was strange about him. He always stayed in the computer lab late at night." Soon Daniel became the center of rumors. And not a single person defended him. Part 3. The public expulsion. The university decided to make an example. They organized a formal disciplinary meeting in front of many faculty members. Daniel was called to stand in front of the hall. The dean spoke loudly. "You violated the university's digital infrastructure and attempted to manipulate academic records." Daniel felt his hands shaking. "I didn't do it," he repeated. The IT officer stepped forward with a laptop. The login activity clearly shows his student ID accessing the server. The dean nodded. "That is enough evidence." A document was placed on the table. "Sign this acknowledgement of expulsion." Daniel looked at the paper. His mind felt empty. If he signed it, everything would end. Years of effort, his mother's sacrifices, his dreams, all gone. He slowly shook his head. "I won't sign something I didn't do." The hall became louder. Some students laughed, others whispered, but the administration had already decided. "Then we will proceed without your signature." At that moment, campus security escorted Daniel outside, and the university announced his expulsion. Part 4. Something didn't add up. 2 days later, something unexpected happened. The university received a message from the city cybercrime unit. The investigation into the hacked system had triggered a larger alert. Apparently, the attack pattern matched another recent case. A police cyber investigator named Inspector Ibrahim decided to review the situation personally. When he examined the university's report, something caught his attention. The administrators had focused only on who logged into the system, but they had ignored how the system was accessed. Inspector Ibrahim requested the full server logs. When he reviewed them carefully, he noticed something strange. The login activity did use Daniel's student account, but the connection didn't come from Daniel's laptop. It came from a hidden internal terminal in the administration building. That meant only one thing: someone inside the building had used Daniel's credentials. Part 5. The real investigation. The police quietly visited the campus. They asked the university not to announce anything yet. Inspector Ibrahim and his team began checking internal computers. They reviewed security cameras from the night the system was hacked. For several hours, nothing unusual appeared. But around 11:40 p.m., the camera near the administration office recorded something interesting. A student entered the restricted building. He used a temporary access card. The police paused the video, zoomed in, and recognized the face. It wasn't Daniel, it was Victor Adaimi. Victor was a well-known student, confident, popular, and the son of a powerful businessman who donated money to the university. Part 6. The truth unfolds. The police continued investigating. They checked Victor's exam records. Something suspicious appeared immediately. Several of the grades that had been changed belonged to Victor and his close friends. Inspector Ibrahim leaned back in his chair. That explains everything. Victor had somehow obtained Daniel's login credentials. Daniel often used the computer lab late at night. If Victor had watched him type his password once, that would be enough. Using Daniel's identity, Victor hacked the system and changed grades. Then he assumed no one would question the evidence. Because Daniel was the quiet student and Victor was the respected one. But the digital traces told a different story, and now the police had proof. Part 7. The return. 3 days after Daniel's expulsion, the university hall was filled again. Students thought it was another announcement, but this time the police were present. The dean looked confused as Inspector Ibrahim walked onto the stage. "We have concluded the cybercrime investigation," the inspector said. The hall became silent. "Daniel Okafor did not hack the university system." Gasps spread across the room. The inspector continued. "The real person responsible is Victor Adaimi." Students turned their heads in shock. Victor stood up suddenly. "That's not true." But the police already had the evidence. Server logs, camera footage, terminal access records. Everything pointed directly to him. The officers walked toward Victor and placed him under arrest. Part 8. The reversal. The same room that had watched Daniel's humiliation now watched something very different. Victor was escorted out of the hall. The dean looked embarrassed. He slowly turned toward Daniel, who had been invited back for the announcement. For several seconds, the dean didn't speak. Finally, he said quietly, "Daniel, the university owes you an apology." The hall remained silent. Then something unexpected happened. One student began clapping, another joined. Soon the entire room filled with applause. But Daniel didn't smile, he simply stood there calmly. After everything that happened, the applause felt strange, ending the quiet victory. A week later, the university restored Daniel's scholarship. They also offered him a position assisting the campus IT security team. Because during the police investigation, Inspector Ibrahim had noticed something impressive. Before the hacking incident even happened, Daniel had once reported a vulnerability in the university system. Most students ignored security flaws. Daniel tried to fix them. The inspector later told the dean something simple. "You almost expelled the one student who was actually protecting your system." Daniel returned to his classes quietly. Just like before, he still sat in the last row. Still spoke very little, but something had changed. Now when students looked at him, they didn't see the quiet student anymore. They saw someone who had been falsely accused, and whose truth eventually spoke louder than any rumor, because sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one who knows the most. And the truth always leaves a trace even inside a computer system.